Emancipation Proclamation. Have your parents ever punished you? Have they ever given you a speech about rules that you don't agree with? That is how the Southerners felt when President Abraham Lincoln shared the Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation Proclamation freed all slaves in the Confederate States. The issue of slavery. Slavery was a major issue during the Civil War. It was part of the Southern way of life. Slaves were needed to work in the cotton fields on big plantations. People in the South did not want slavery to be abolished. Slaves made farming very profitable for them. The Northern economy was more focused on an industry and manufacturing, so slaves were not needed for Northerners to make money. Because of this, many people in the North were against slavery. Northerners wanted it to be abolished or ended for good. If slavery was such a big problem, why didn't President Lincoln just free the slaves at the beginning of the Civil War? Good question. Lincoln knew that would be a huge decision. A decision that big would need to be supported by a big win by the North. If the Union was losing the war when Lincoln ended slavery, it would mean even less to the Southerners. So he waited and waited and waited. Finally, on September 17, 1862, Lincoln had the perfect chance to end slavery. War order. The Union Army had just won the Battle of Antietam. The Confederate Army lost many lives at Antietam. Their confidence was weakening. Lincoln knew the time was right to issue the important order. On January 1st, 1863, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. The statement immediately ended slavery in the Confederate States. The Emancipation Proclamation ordered the end of slavery. However, only about 500,000 slaves were freed right away. Over 3.5 million slaves were not let go. This is because the proclamation only freed slaves in the Confederate States. The Confederate States thought they were not part of the Union any longer, so they thought they did not need to listen to the U.S. President. Plus, border states were not included in the proclamation. Many slaves would not be freed until after the war ended in 1865. Still, give President Lincoln some credit. The Emancipation Proclamation sent a message to the South. The Union did not plan to lose the war. It also showed that the president was serious about the end of slavery. The Emancipation Proclamation also helped allow black men to join the Union Army. Around 200,000 black men joined. The impact of the proclamation. Slavery was not officially ended until the 13th Amendment was ratified. President Lincoln knew the change would be slow to happen when he issued the order, but he knew that the proclamation could put the country one step closer to ending slavery. The 13th Amendment abolished or ended slavery in the United States of America. It is one of the most important amendments in the U.S. Constitution. It gave freedom to millions of people. Fun fact, President Abraham Lincoln thought the Emancipation Proclamation was his greatest accomplishment. When talking about the Emancipation Proclamation, he said, "If my name ever goes into history, it will be for this act."